All right, everyone, are you ready to get started? Yes, Chuck, we are ready to get started. I know you guys were intimidated because you don't have a mic and I have a mic, so that's, you felt it was unequal, but you have the mass. So together, collectively, you have a louder voice. So are you guys ready to get started? What a coincidence, me too. So let's get started. My name is Chuck Steele. I forgot my controller. Whoever made these PowerPoints did not do a good job with the contrasting colors. And I'm going to have a conversation with that person as soon as this is done. You better believe it. And I'm the one who did the PowerPoint, so I apologize for that. Anyways, I'm Chuck Steele. I'm the manager of student life here at College of DuPage. And on behalf of everybody who was tabling over there, everyone who couldn't be here today, I want to welcome you guys to College of DuPage and let you know that you made a wonderful decision to be here, to attend here, but also be here today. There's one thing I like to clear up right from the beginning. There's sometimes a misconception that people might have coming through the doors when you're attending College of DuPage, and that is that in some way we might be a delay to your college experience. Whether you're going to a four-year school after us or whether you're going right to a career, some people think, well, I'll sit tight, I'll take my classes, and then when I get to a four-year school, boom, college will really begin. Or if you're going to a career, you think, well, I'll just take my classes, that's all I need to do, and then, boom, my career begins. And I want to tell you that nothing could be further from the truth. Attending College of DuPage is in no way a delay to your college experience. In fact, it is the opposite. It is a jump start to your college experience. What we hear from students who have attended here and go other places is they have double the opportunity to take part in stuff that they would have if they just went to a four-year school. And hopefully, not too many of you came through the doors, thinking that way, but by the end of you walking out the doors on your way out today, you'll be abused of that idea. So sit tight, we got a lot to cover. I do want to mention, we all know that College of DuPage is a community college, and I only mention that because we take the idea of community very seriously. We have wonderful, wonderful people working here at COD. You met a lot of them already over at the tabling. As you go through your time here, you'll meet even more of them. But I also want to include the administration who you might not see as often. I want to include you as incoming students, our current student body, and even our alumni. We have a very strong sense of community. Along those lines, I also want to point out something else that may be obvious to a lot of you, and that is that we are a large institution. We are the second largest institution of higher ed in Illinois, whether it's a two-year or a four-year school. Only University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign is larger than us. Okay, so we are huge, and that comes with a lot of benefits. At the same time, it can be a little intimidating to come into a community of that size. So what's important for you is to understand that we are a community of communities. And we don't expect you to be a part of every little thing that we have going on campus, but we do, for your own sake, want you to be able to find your community or communities within our larger community. Towards that end also, I think it's important when you're a part of a community to sort of appreciate the context and kind of the history of the community that you're a part of. And towards that end, I do want to acknowledge the land that College of DuPage sits on. So College of DuPage is located in the traditional ancestral land of the Peoria, the Potawatomi, the Miami, the Sioux, the Ho-Chunk, the Kaskaskia, and the Kickapoo peoples. This area holds great historical, spiritual, and personal significance for its original stewards, the Native nations and the people of this area. And we, the college, want to acknowledge that the last Native Americans who lived in DuPage were forcibly removed west in 1833 and were never allotted the land, payment, or survival supplies like food and shelter that they were promised. And we acknowledge their connection to this land value their diversity of cultural worldviews, and we give thanks for the opportunity to live, work, and learn in their traditional homeland. So, before I give up the topic of community, I do think that it's important for us to get to know each other a little bit. So, towards that end, I'm going to have us all take a moment, probably about 5 minutes or so, and I want you to introduce yourself to each other at the table. Now, you might have already done that while you're waiting for me to get started. But what we're going to do is something that is called One Unique Thing, and I want you to share one unique thing about yourself. It can be a talent that you have. It can be an experience that you've had. The way we're going to know it's unique is if no one else at your table has had that same talent or experience. And if they have, one way to make it unique is to just be more specific. And if you, by being more specific, you may be able to separate yourself from the other person. If not, you can just try for something else totally different. All right? So we are going to share one unique thing about ourselves with the table. I'll probably give you about 6 minutes because these are a little bit larger tables. So don't spend too much time on it. And then when we're done, I'm going to ask for a few volunteers to share with the whole room their one unique thing. All right, everyone understand? If you have any questions, feel free to ask an orientation leader. They're the ones in the green shirts or hoodies. There's one at almost every table, and if not, just raise your hand and one will come over, okay? So go ahead and get started. Share one unique thing about yourselves. All right, you have 30 seconds to wrap up if you haven't already wrapped it up. Who would like to share their one unique thing with the group? I saw this hand up here first. The way we're doing it is you're going to stand up, you're going to say your name, we're going to all say hello, and then you're going to tell us your one unique thing. But before we begin, I don't want to be the only one with a microphone. So yeah, I'm going to toss it to you. You don't have to talk right into it like this. You can hold it right down here, and it'll pick up, all right? It is Nerf, yet at the same time, if you see it coming in your direction and you're not going to try to catch it, get out of the way. Also, I was given permission to throw this around in here, but I was told that if I hit anything that's attached to the ceiling, I will be fired. I'm willing to risk it if you're willing to risk it. I don't feel good about this. In the future, I will try to not have you leave your feet to catch it. All right, your name?
All right, my name is Julian.
Julian? Hold on.
Hey, Julian. Frick, what was my unique thing? Oh, so I like working on cars. I just got an RSX. Anybody that knows how to work on Hondas, please help me.
Hold on, that's a very interesting combination of statements. I like working on cars, but if anyone else does, please help. But actually, I like that. I like the communal aspect of that. Again, it doesn't, mean you don't know how to do it, but getting more help is always great. By any chance, are you majoring in automotive technology?
Data analyst.
A big fan of data. And from a research perspective, I think having one person in a crowd this size raise their hand for that is about appropriate. The statistics would bear that out. Can you connect data analysis and your interest in cars in any ways that I cannot from up here?
All right, so I really like working on cars, but technology is the future. So I know that Tesla holds a lot of data. That's the future.
All right. I think that's a great point. All right. Because you were courageous and went first, and we don't like to not reward that kind of courage, I do have 3 prizes you can choose from.
Okay, let's go.
It's a new Tesla.
Yes. Behind the curtain, unfortunately in front of the curtain, we have a travel mug, a Bluetooth speaker, a Contigo leak-proof lid, auto spout, water bottle, but I guess you could put whatever in there you want. Which of these 3 items would you like?
I'm gonna take the speaker. For the shower, yeah.
I'm going to ask that you give the catch box to Ayesha as well. That way I don't have to embarrass myself by trying to catch it. Who would like to go next? I know that you're just challenging my arm. So go ahead and stand up, and I'm going to ask Ayesha to bring it back to you. Yes. Ayesha, you can toss it, but no more than 2 tables lengths. Because, as I mentioned, my job's on the line.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dalia. Hello.
Excellent. Your one unique thing.
I'm the first girl in my family to travel alone overseas and come here to start my life alone. I'm 19 years old.
Let's hear it.
Thank you.
Talk about courage.
I'm from Egypt.
So what was the most intimidating thing for you before you began your journey over here? What did you think? What made you anxious about the trip, or did anything?
I would just want to go out of my country to discover another country, but it was a little bit hard for me because in our culture, the girl couldn't travel alone without her parents. But I convinced my parents that I'm gonna be fine, and they say, "Okay, go ahead."
Let's have a hand for her parents. And, you know, I mentioned that I work full-time in student life. I also teach speech communication and leadership development part-time. And I want to say, you know, when you bring up culture, I think it's always an interesting thing to think about. What do you get from the cultures, the multiple cultures you belong to, and what do you contribute to the cultures that you belong to? Because we all have an impact. And so, you know, you kind of stepping outside the norm on that, you're expanding that culture, and you're having an impact on that culture. So, and I also want to say that, you know, one of the things that I love about this exercise of one unique thing is, you know, where your value is, what makes something valuable? I'll ask you the question. What makes something valuable? How hard it is to get. It's the rarity, right? So that's the uniqueness. So when you think about what makes you valuable, it is your uniqueness. And I appreciate the fact that you're coming from Egypt and bringing everything that you're bringing to our culture here at COD. And I kind of spread that out to everyone in the room too. I appreciate all the uniqueness that you all are bringing to our culture, because this is what develops our culture, and that's why we're so strong. So thank you for that, for sharing that.
Thank you so much.
I have 2 items here that you can choose from. One, I'm going to call it a hot liquid container, and the other one a cold liquid container, but I've just made that up myself. Again, do with them what you would like. Which would you prefer?
The hot one.
The hot one?
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we have time for one last unique thing. I saw 2 hands go up. And you know what? I am so bad at decisions, but I think I saw yours first, so.
Ready?
Hi, I'm Christine. Hi, Christine. My one unique thing is, as an undergraduate, I studied ancient Greek and Latin.
Okay, I forgot to do this for everyone else, but can I just double check how unique it is within the big room? Anybody else here as an undergraduate study ancient Greek or Latin? Of course not. I did not think that you did. So how did, and I know we're talking, but because the majority of the room is that way, if you could make sure that we're including everyone. But what brought you to study ancient Greek and Latin? What motivated you?
Well, my background is Greek, and I loved archaeology. There we go. I loved everything classical Greek, so that's why I decided to study classical Greek and Latin.
Excellent. And now what are you doing here at COD? What is your...
I am doing continuing education, and I love languages, so I decided I want to challenge myself, and I'm learning Arabic.
Excellent. I do want to mention one thing, because you mentioned challenging yourself, and I love that that's your approach to coming here.
And I'm a boomer.
And I do want to point something out that not everyone realizes, that, you know, as you approach your experience here at College of DuPage, you know, we're all familiar with your comfort zone. You've all heard that phrase. You're typically told to get out of your comfort zone. Does anybody know what is outside their comfort zone? Not anybody in green. It's funny that people tell you get out your comfort zone, but we don't talk about what's out there. There's 2 other zones, and the one that is immediately outside your comfort zone is your learning zone or your growth zone. And if you don't get outside your comfort zone, you do not learn, you do not grow. Okay, so that's where the challenge is. But what happens when you spend time outside your comfort zone, when you spend time in your learning or growth zone? Your comfort zone becomes larger and then includes whatever it is you're working on. There is one more zone that goes beyond that. That is your panic zone, and that is a zone nobody wants to be in. And if you find yourself in that zone, your best bet is to step back into the learning growth zone, or even if you want to go all the way back to the comfort zone, regroup, and then just try to, keep in that learning growth zone. So, but that's a challenge. I don't want to pretend it's easy. It is a challenge to get out of your comfort zone. So I appreciate, again, the way that you're approaching this. Now I'm going to give you your choice of this one beverage container.
Thank you.
All right, thank you all for sharing, and I hope you enjoyed meeting each other. This is a great way. I will tell you, you will have a lot of time between classes or during breaks. This is a great conversation starter because there's always a great story behind your one unique thing. But the other piece of it is that your one unique thing a lot of times turns out to be not as unique as you think it is. And when you make a connection with someone else over something that you both find unique, that is a very deep and strong connection, and it's a great way to meet people. So it doesn't always have to be as formal as this. You don't need to get your own catch box or give out prizes, but it's a great way to have conversations. Before we get off one unique thing, I do want to bring up one unique student. She is our student trustee. You've already met her. She has been helping me out up here. Her name is Ayesha Shafiuddin. How about a hand for Ayesha? Either one.
This is a little tall for me. Yes. Hi, everyone. I am Ayesha Shafiuddin, and I am the student trustee. There's only one of me at COD. And basically what I do is I represent your student voice at a bigger level, at the Board of Trustees, where big decisions are made. I just want to share a little bit about my story because I think that you can connect to it. A lot of you walked in here today feeling nervous, maybe unsure, or not, certain about what you're going to do. And of course, entering that zone of being, around challenges. And about a year ago, I was in that same position. I was in your seats, feeling unsure at orientation, but eventually I grew and I found my own community. Something Chuck said earlier that really resonates with me is that we are a community full of communities. I'm a part of the Student Leadership Council. I'm also a part of the Computer Science Club. We have so many communities, and you will find your place if you just search for it. So I want to just congratulate you for being here because this is a step in the right direction. But it's nice meeting you. I hope you all have a fantastic day today.
Thank you, Ayesha. We do have a number of presenters who are going to present about their different areas from the college. But before we get there, I have to go through something that I like to call the 3 Gs. And this is what you need to know to be successful at College of DuPage. The first G, repeat after me. Genius. When you look at College of DuPage, you might think we have a very diverse student population. When I look at College of DuPage, I see 2 types of students. I see geniuses, or I see students who are incredibly lucky. I will let you guys decide what category you want to belong in. You're a genius because you decided to attend College of DuPage. And there's really 2 reasons: the money and the education. Which do you guys want to hear about first? More people said money, but the first thing I heard was education. So I'm going with that. You are getting an extremely high level of education at College of DuPage. Some people come through the doors, or you go to a classroom and you sit down and you think, man, this reminds me of high school. This class, it's tiny, right? Like high school. This is nothing like high school, nothing. The fact that you're sitting in a small classroom speaks to the high level of education you're getting. If you go to a four-year school, if you've been to one before, if you have friends and family who have been to one, ask them about the size of their classes when they were freshman and sophomore. It would not be unusual to be in a lecture hall. This could be the size of a classroom. It could be 200 people. It could be 400 people. That is typical. Here, we have small classrooms. And at a four-year school, it's not atypical to be taught by a teaching assistant. I know I was a teaching assistant, right? What that means is I'm in training. Here, we have professional faculty members. Whether they're full-time, whether they're adjuncts, they are high-level. This is what they do. And so I also don't want you to think that this is just me saying it. You know, we have a number of 2+2 or 3+1 programs that help you transfer seamlessly into four-year schools. One of the ones we have is we have what's called engineering pathways, which will help you transfer seamlessly to the University of Illinois engineering program. And what they say, what that says is you can take your first 2 years here at COD and transfer seamlessly into the U of I engineering program. The U of I engineering program, I want to say, is one of the top 3, one of the top 5 engineering schools in the country, all right? High level. And you can start here and transfer seamlessly to there. You can start here and go wherever you want because the education is so strong. So the other piece of that, and the geniuses know that. That's one of their factors they reason when they decide to come to College of DuPage, is the high level of education. The other side is the money. We are cheaper than other schools. That doesn't take a genius to know. Most people know that. What the geniuses know is that higher education is not a transactional thing. It's not like buying a car where there is a set price. There is a set price, it's called tuition, but that's not the value. Okay, there's not a set value with the higher education. The person who's responsible for creating the value of your higher education is you. Have you ever heard of Gallup? International data company, does a lot of polling. They did research with Purdue University because they wanted to find out what part of the college experience impacted life after college in terms of work satisfaction, in terms of life satisfaction. What part of college had the biggest impact? What they found was what you did in college had a greater impact on your satisfaction after college than where you went to college. What you do in college has a bigger impact than where you go to college. What you do in college is how you create the value. Geniuses know if I'm paying this set price, which just happens to be less than all the other schools I was considering, and I can make my own value, that's genius level thinking. And if you're not that familiar with how money works, I will tell you, the more money the money equals options. So the more you're able to graduate college with either more money in your pocket or less debt, the more options you're going to have, which means more choices about what job do you want to do, where do you want to live, how many people do you want to live with, right? I can tell you this, you know, we like to say the more you're able to live with your parents while you're in college, the less likely you'll have to live with your parents when you're out of college. And sometimes, again, there's this thing where if you're coming to a community college or College of DuPage and you have friends who are going off to a four-year school, and sometimes you might be jealous of the four-year experience and the friends who are going off to a four-year school. Let me tell you, when everyone graduates, when you get your degrees, it flip-flops. The people who started at a community college are the ones, their friends are jealous, the ones who went to the four-year school the whole time, because they're just paying off loans, paying off loans, paying off loans. And that is a lifetime of jealousy compared to 2 years of jealousy, right? Which side of that do you want to be on? So The geniuses know all that, and that's why they decide to attend COD, and that's why they're geniuses. The lucky students are the ones who just decided, yeah, I should be somewhere, and attend COD and get all the benefits, the high level of education that the geniuses get. And they just luck into it. So that's why I like to say there are two types of students at COD, geniuses or incredibly lucky. And it's never too, if you consider yourself incredibly lucky, it's never too late to move yourself over to the genius side by creating your own value and taking advantage of everything we have to offer. Okay? That is the first G, genius. Second G, repeat after me. Get involved. I want to start with a car analogy. Why do you buy a car? To get around, to drive around, right. It's for transportation to get from here to there. That's why you have a car. But if your car comes with heated seats, kick and stereo, power windows, what else do cars come with? GPS. Okay. I don't mean to stump with these hard questions about automobiles. That's my fault. I shouldn't have asked it. But anyways, these cars come with all these things, and you would be foolish not to use them, right? It's not why you buy a car. You buy a car to get from here to there, but they all come with it. One way or another, you're paying for it. It would be foolish not to use it. Why do you come to college? Take classes, right? Get an education. But we have a lot of ups and extras that you can take advantage of. And I'm telling you, just like you would not drive around with the windows up, with the radio off, not having your GPS on, not using the seat warmer, that'd be foolish. It's equally foolish to come to College of DuPage and just go to class. That is part of the experience. We have so much more. So that's up to you to take advantage of. I'm getting the sense that maybe you'd like to hear someone else talk about it. So how about if I ask Ayesha to come back up and tell you how to get involved?
Well, it's going to be really quick, you guys, because I just want to say that, as I was in your seats for the first semester, I really didn't do anything. I went straight to class, straight home, and that was it. That was my routine. And it was the most boring part of COD for me. So I will say, if you find yourself stuck in that routine, try to break out of it. Maybe go to one event that you find interesting, one club meeting. Going to one meeting does not mean you're committing to that club fully. It just means that you're testing the waters and checking it out. That's what I did, and I found myself a home almost everywhere I went. COD is such a welcoming community that I think that if you go anywhere, people will either direct you to where you'll be more interested or just find your home immediately there upon first sight. So when you look around and you see all the green shirts, ask those people too where they got involved, who do they hang out with. Our campus is not just you go to school and you go home. There is so much more that happens, and many festivities that we plan through the Office of Student Life. So take advantage while you're here. Make that car as fancy as you can. So then when you drive off to your transfer school or you're finishing your certificate and going into the workforce, you are driving comfortably.
I love it, driving comfortably. And I do want to point out that student life is not the center of everything at College of DuPage. We have theater, we have sports, we have student jobs, we have study groups, we have, there is, like I said, we're a community of communities and so many ways to connect with each other. Last G, grab the wheel. There is a quiz at the end, so there's only 3 G's. You got to remember them all. Keeping with the car analogy, if you might remember when you went through driver's ed, if you did go through driver's ed, you were behind the wheel, you thought you were in control, you were in charge, but really there's the driving instructor next to you, and he had that emergency brake that, that he was going to, if you got in trouble, he was going to stop you, if he was going to grab the wheel. Or maybe your parent did that when you were learning to drive. They just grabbed the wheel and correct it. If you're a parent, I do not recommend doing that to your child. That's kind of what high school is like for me, I think. We're going to get through high school. That is they'll make sure of that, right? In college, we have a lot of support. We have a lot of the same functions. You know, we're going to help you as much as possible. We have counselors, we have advisors, we have navigators, we have internships, we have field studies, we have club advisors. There's so much support to help you. But you have to take the wheel. You are in charge of it. You have to seek it out. And if you want to be successful, you're going to do that. Right? And to keep the driving analogy going, I guarantee one thing for everyone here, that your college experience, there will be bumps in the road. There are always bumps in the road. If you've driven at all, you know there's bumps in the road. You might have smooth patches, but there's going to be a pothole. When you are driving, if you're not paying attention, and it can be even a small pothole, what's going to happen, right? It's going to startle you. It's going to impact you. Your heart might beat a little bit. You know what I mean? That's not good. If you're looking down the road and you see a pothole, you have so many more options. You can slow down. You can change lanes. You can pull over. You can, your options are endless because you have so much time to deal with. College is like that. There will be bumps. And again, the further down the line you're looking, the better for you. So be aware of the supports. A couple things I just want to say quickly, recommendations. These are my personal recommendations to help grab the wheel. Everywhere you go, bring a pad of paper and a pen. If you want to impress anybody, whether it's a teacher, whether it's a job interview, whether it's any kind of meeting, you show up, you sit down, you open a notebook and you grab a pen, and they're going to think this person is serious. This person means business. Whether you actually end up taking notes or not, doesn't matter. You are ready. Do that. Thing two, keep a calendar. Put everything on the calendar, whether it's paper, whether it's electronic. If you think you can keep track of it in your head, go ahead, as long as you actually do it. Quick question, in terms of calendaring and thinking how much you can do, how many hours a week do you have to work to be considered full-time? 40, correct, full-time, 40 hours. How many credit hours, the amount of hours you spend in a classroom, do you have to take to be considered a full-time student? 12. Makes no sense. 12, 40, both full-time. To be a successful student, you are expected to spend 2 to 3 hours outside the classroom for every hour inside the classroom. That's what you need to be successful. If you add 2 hours outside the classroom for every hour inside the classroom, that 12 credit hours becomes 36 hours total. 36/40, you can see how that's comparable. When you're doing your calendar, if you only write the in-class time and do not account for the out-of-class time, you are not setting yourself up for success. So be aware of that. One last thing I want to tell you about, this is something, it's one of the best things we have here at COD in terms of supporting students. We have a food security initiative, right? So we have it's called the Fuel Pantry. It's brain fuel. It's a food pantry, open to anyone who needs it. Whether you need something, take some groceries for the week, whether you need a snack because you have a test coming up, it is located right below where we're at right now. But it's not just the fuel pantry. We have a garden as well that is connected to that. So you're getting fresh produce. We have a culinary department who processes a lot of that stuff. So we have preserved things in the pantry. Our food security initiative not only includes culinary, it includes environmental biology, it includes English, it includes art, it includes native plants, it includes student life. There are opportunities for students, not only as clients, but we have internships, we have service learning classes. There's a lot of ways to get involved. And this is one of the best examples of community, because this is us helping us, right? Helping each other, learning and growing together. So I just love the garden metaphor with that. So be aware that we have a fuel pantry, but a food security initiative on campus. So all three again? Excellent. All right. I know everyone got very excited. You know that when I asked about education or money, which did you want to hear first about? Money seemed to be pretty important to you guys. So the first speaker I would like to bring up is from the Office of Financial Aid. It is Keith Schwartz. Let's give it up for him.
Good afternoon. Again, my name is Keith Schwartz. I'm the Associate Director of Financial Aid and Scholarship over in the Office of Student Financial Assistance. We are here to assist with anything financial aid and scholarship related. I really just want to touch on a few things that we do have coming up so that you are aware of them, can keep your eye out, things of that nature. For those who have not completed a FAFSA and are looking to do so still, we do offer FAFSA Fridays on the first Friday of each month, where we will be available to help walk you through any troubleshooting that you need, or if you just need somebody to guide you through the process, because it's kind of an uncomfortable process if you don't exactly know what you're doing. Additionally, we have scholarships open for the fall enrollment, so fall 2023. Those applications will be available for you to complete until March 31st. So take a look at and apply for any that you may feel you may qualify for. Additionally, we do have Student Employment Fair coming up on February 2nd. That will be from 11 to 1 p.m. in the atrium in the SSC. So if you do have any interest in student employment with the college, all departments that are available and have open positions will be there to present what they have available to the students to apply for, and we'll give you a little rundown on what your expected responsibilities would be in those positions. Next, we do have an open period where you can utilize your financial aid that you may qualify for to purchase books and supplies. The date for the spring semester that's available right now and will run through March 24th. Lastly, ask that you follow us on social media. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We post a lot of upcoming events and things that you may find of interest to you or just good things to know. I know I rattled through quite a few dates and information pretty quickly, so I'd also ask, we're right inside this door right here at the financial aid counter. We have information packets that will actually go over all of this information so you can refer back to it if needed. All right? Thank you. Oh, all right.
I forgot that I did want to ask all the presenters if they could start off their presentation by sharing one unique thing about themselves. So I did not want to let Keith leave the stage before he shared one unique thing.
Thought I was going to get out of this. So one unique thing about me. So this is not something necessarily unique about me, but something that I was able to experience. So when I was in high school, my basketball team was able to play a school in the greater Milwaukee area, and we played at the Milwaukee Bucks Stadium. Now, I am old enough that Michael Jordan was still in the league when I was in high school. They were playing the Bulls later that night, and the home school wanted to use the home locker room for some reason. So instead of having to deal with the Milwaukee Bucks locker room, I got to hang out in the same locker room as Michael Jordan did. So it's kind of cool.
Hugely unique, hugely unique. That is something I did not know. That is great.
Thank you.
Did you win the game?
Actually, it was maybe the most exciting game we had all season. We were down by 2 points with about 10 seconds to go, and our shooting guard got fouled shooting a three-pointer. So he got 3 free throws. He made all 3 of them, and we won by 1 point.
I'm going to say that the Bulls crushed the Bucks that night. So
that is 100% correct.
You had the most exciting game in that arena that day.
That is absolutely true.
Excellent. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you. All right. Next up, we have Denise McGrath and Laura Kozlow from Counseling, Advising, and Transfer.
I thought we were going to get out of the unique thing. Welcome, everybody. My name is Denise McGrath. I'm from Counseling and Advising. It's so nice to see everybody here. I get so excited to see new students. Anyway, I thought about my unique thing. I'm not that exciting, but one of my unique things is my husband and I last year decided that we were going to walk an average of 10,000 steps a day per month, which is about 5 miles. So you can have a couch potato day, right? You can walk like 3,000, but then you have to make it up. And by the end of the month, it has to average 10,000. So at the end of each month, you'll find Mike and I walking like 8 miles a day because we procrastinate, but I'm happy to say that we met our goal, and I think our average for 2022 was 11,000 steps. So healthy living. Anyway, thank you. And I'm here to talk to you a little bit about our services and counseling and advising and transfer services. Again, my name is Denise, and this is my beautiful colleague, Laura. So 3 of the main services that we offer our students. The first one is academic counseling. So higher education can be very confusing. There's a lot less hand-holding per se than high school. So it's really important for our students to come and meet with a counselor and advisor every semester. We don't want your big brother planning your classes. We don't want your neighbor planning your classes, because mistakes can be expensive, both from a time standpoint and from a money standpoint. So just a quick show of hands, how many of you met with a counselor to plan your spring? Yay, okay, good, good, good. The second service that we offer our students is career counseling. It's completely appropriate for students your age, 18, 19, 20, to be unsure of what they want to study. And we see students all the time for that reason. But eventually you're going to want to make a decision and figure out what you want to study. And we're here to help you with that. Laura will talk a little bit more about some classes that we teach that'll also help you. But you would just ask our front desk for a career counseling appointment. And with that, we also help with transfer services. And then the final service that we offer is personal counseling. You guys know better than most people that mental health issues are on the rise, and lots of students face challenges that impact their academic success. We are here to help you with that as well. Our department is set up that we can't do long-term counseling, that it goes on for more than 6 to 8 sessions. If it gets to that, we would refer students, but we try to help students all the time succeed and overcome those mental challenges that they might be facing. Now Laura's going to take over and tell you a little bit more.
Hi, everyone. Okay, so my one unique thing, I feel like Chuck has heard all my unique things because I've been doing orientation for so long, but I was on a dinosaur-themed bowling team called the Sparadactyls for 7 years. My name was Laura Soros, and in all that time, I never broke a 200, and then recently, I was much smaller than this, but while pregnant, I went bowling with some friends and broke a 200, and I hadn't been in like 3 years. So that's my unique thing. So other things that we do in counseling, advising, and transfer, we offer a ton of workshops throughout the semester, ranging from mental health issues, career, transfer. One thing that we'll help you with is the transfer process. So if you do plan on transferring to a university, we can offer some assistance with that, either through workshops or one-on-one counseling, where we'll help you, find schools with your program, help you kind of learn about the timeline to applying and the steps to applying and things like that. COD, we're such a known institution and so large that we get a ton of schools who come here to recruit our students. So we have a couple of very large transfer fairs every year. One is the state universities that all come here, all 13 of them, and then the private Illinois colleges and universities, which is usually like 30 plus. And then other schools will just, come on a regular basis, and all that's on our website. Also, you don't have to, I don't think Denise mentioned this yet, but there's always somebody available up in our office if a student is in crisis and needing to speak to someone. So we usually operate on an appointment basis, but if you're really having a bad day or you're with a friend who really needs some assistance, you can bring them to us and they can be seen. We also, counselors, teach a few classes here on campus. One of them is called College Success Skills. So this is really a great class, 2 credits, and it's really just to help support you in your academic classes, learning about time management, procrastination. Denise does a workshop on procrastination, stress management, resources on campus. So that's one course that we teach, and we teach a career development class for those who are undecided or still deciding about their major or program. And then finally, I used to be a high school counselor, so I know a lot of students coming straight from high school are used to being assigned a counselor. And if you like that person, that's great. And if you don't like them, you're kind of stuck with them probably for 4 years. Here we don't typically assign you to a counselor. So if you met with somebody to plan your classes and you really like them, then make sure you request them again. You can continue meeting with them. And if you were kind of like, you can shop around and meet with any of us you want. I get a lot of referrals from people's friends and siblings, just saying, oh, they met with you, can I meet with you? So just letting you know that you're not kind of tied to one person. Did I miss anything?
I think That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, and we look forward to working with you.
Yes,
every
thank you.
semester.
Welcome.
Congratulations, Laura. That was a new one. I hadn't heard that one before, so that was great. Next up, we have Angel Nance from the Learning Commons.
Hello. As Chuck said, I'm Angel Nance. I'm from the Learning Commons, and my one unique thing, I also tried to think of something Chuck hasn't heard before. I went skydiving. Okay, not unique, right? Other people have gone skydiving. The skydiving company used photos from my skydive for their promotional materials. So I was on a billboard and on things that they put out to advertise it. So that was kind of cool. Anybody else? I didn't think so. So I'm from the Learning Commons, which is the academic support center for the College of DuPage. We have a few different services available through the Learning Commons for our students. We offer tutoring, math assistance, writing, reading, speech assistance. We also have resources to help students who are getting ready to take the math placement test, which I'm sure you all love hearing you have to take. All of these resources are available to students at no additional cost, which is always nice to hear. Just to give you a brief overview of how our services work, tutoring is course-based, which means tutors are working with you to review, clarify, and reinforce things that have been covered in your classes already. So a tutoring session isn't going to be a substitute for going to class. You still have to do that. But we meet with students both in person and online, by appointment and drop-in for our tutoring area. Our second area is math assistance. We work with students in any math course that they're taking, but we also work with students on any kind of math they're doing in any course they might be taking. So for example, where are my culinary students? Anybody? You are my favorite students. I will sample your baked goods. But there's math and culinary, right? So we can help you out with that. Math assistance, again, also works in person and online, and this area is available on a walk-in or a drop-in basis only. You don't have to schedule an appointment to come in for math assistance. We also have some resources like calculators and textbooks available to you for math assistance. Our final area is writing, reading, speech assistance, and we work with you on any kind of writing, reading skills, speeches, or presentations for any class you might be taking. It's not just for those English classes or speech classes. How many of you get a little bit of fear when you hear talking about giving a speech or a presentation? Oh, not very many. That's good. It's natural to feel nervous even when you do this all the time, right? We have really great strategies to help you manage that anxiety, and I like to mention that because I know a lot of students kind of struggle with that. In addition to all of these things, we work with students on study skills, so things like time management, organizational skills, note-taking, test preparation techniques, things that can help you become a stronger and a more productive student. I kind of wanted to borrow something that Chuck said earlier about when you step outside of your comfort zone. Do y'all remember what zone you're in next? Your learning zone. So I want to encourage you to step outside of your comfort zone and reach out for assistance through the Learning Commons for any course that you're taking. We encourage students to come in early and often. Don't wait until you're struggling or floundering with something to reach out for assistance. We are located in the Student Resource Center, room 2102, so just the other side of this building. And again, we offer all of our services both in person and online for students. We'll be at the table, so if you have more questions for me, I'd be happy to answer them. And we really look forward to seeing you all in the Learning Commons, whether it's in person or online this semester.
Thank you, Angel. Next up, we have Elizabeth Gomez de la Casa from the Center for Student Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. We do not have David Swope. Again, I'm going to talk to the guy who did this PowerPoint. His days are numbered.
Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. So again, my name is Elizabeth, Manager of Intercultural Initiatives. My colleague David couldn't join us today. But together, David and I work on creating programming on campus that really kind of has three goals. One is that we are creating programming where students create and have opportunities to build social understanding, right? That we're getting to meet each other and knowing our spaces. That we create a space for cultural awareness, that it's a space where students are united, and that you know that you belong, and you create more spaces among each other as students to create that sense of belonging. We really encourage you to follow us on social media. Again, that's how our students always kind of stay in the loop about what's happening in upcoming events. Two things that I want to talk about. One is on our website, you'll find information about a peer mentoring group. So if you know that you might be that you want to get connected and might benefit from being a mentee, we're always looking for students to participate in the program. And also, once you're about a year in, we want you to become later a mentor. I would say about most of our programming is always in collaboration with one or more of the departments that you're meeting today, and so it's always a good time to meet people from other departments as well. Lastly, I want to talk about some resources. Chuck mentioned the food pantry that we have on campus. I think it's really important for all of students to know about these services that I'm about to mention, because even if they're not for you, I think it's important for you to know that they exist, so that if a friend, a classmate, someone in your community wonders, that you know that College of DuPage has these services. On campus, this is a flyer that's on my table. On our campus, we now have a homeless student liaison, students that are maybe have some housing insecurity. We have a benefits navigator for students who may qualify for public benefits and need help applying and kind of getting those resources. And we also have an undocumented student liaison. You can find that on our website as well, information and resources. So pick up a flyer. Again, even if they're not necessarily for you, it's always good to know that they exist so that you can share that information with others. Thanks. So my interesting fact is that when I was in college, I always wanted to study abroad, but someone had to like give me that extra push. And I was gonna go to Mexico. It was close. I spoke the language, and somehow I ended up in South Africa. So I studied abroad in South Africa. I think it was one of still the coolest experience I have. I don't think my family ever expected that I was going to go that far, but it's also a plug for my colleagues later on. I know that they have a table about study abroad opportunities here on campus. It's a great way to just explore the world. So in South Africa, we went on a safari that started at sunset. It got dark really quick. We ran into an elephant. We made the elephant mad, and the elephant started tapping the Jeep with its trunk, so I thought I was going to die, but I was okay with that. I felt like if there's a better way to go in South Africa on a safari, that is my interesting fact.
Most surprising part of that story, but I was okay with that. Did not see that coming. All right, next up, we have from Access and Accommodations, again, I believe, just Kelly Kearns. Kelly, you ready? Oh, and Daniel. Daniel is here as well. Okay, sorry, Daniel. You're both up.
Hello, thank you everyone for coming today. So my name is Kelly Kearns. I'm the coordinator of Access and Accommodations.
My name is Daniel Rishi, and I'm an Access Specialist.
Yeah, so we're here today to talk about our office, the Center for Access and Accommodations. And really, we just want to let everyone know that anyone has the ability to request accommodations along their way and throughout their time at the college. Accommodations can be in reference to short-term or long-term. So if you have a long-term medical condition, you might need some more implemented accommodations throughout your classroom time. Or let's say you get sick, you can't make it to your class, but you miss attendance points. We're going to be the place you go to make sure that you can be excused for that. In general, we don't recommend that you share your medical information with your professors. I mean, that's up to you if you want to, but that's exactly what we're here for, to help keep that information private. Any medical information you're sharing with our office is all kept confidential. You have access to it at all times, but in general, no other departments will be able to see that information. So there's a major, and with that, there's a major difference between high school and higher education. So for example, if any of you received accommodations when you were in high school, you probably had a team that went through what's appropriate for you, guaranteeing success. Your professors were involved, your parents were involved. Whereas now in higher education, it's not necessarily like that. It's up to you to advocate if you want to utilize accommodations, if you want to. And you don't necessarily have to. But in general, students have a right to keep that information confidential to their parents as well. Parents don't always have access to your educational information. So if they were to call our department saying, hey, did my son or daughter contact you, make an appointment, we can't share that information unless you sign what's called a FERPA waiver. That's available through the Student Records Department, and we educate our students on that. If you ever touch base with us and you want them to have access, we'll help guide you through it. But it's your right to keep all that information confidential along the way. But otherwise, I'm going to let Daniel tell you a little bit more about our process.
Yeah, so how to get started with our office. If one of those caught your attention, if you're impacted by an illness someday or an injury, or if you're impacted by a disability or a medical condition, how do you get started? The first step would be to going online to cod.edu/access, or you can go to the COD website and search for accommodations or Center for Access and Accommodations, and our office will come up. And then you fill out an online form to tell us a little bit about yourself and why you're contacting our office. We also ask that students upload documentation when they do that. So that's the first step. The next step is we will follow up with you and set up a meeting to hear more about you, to hear about why you contacted our office, so we can know what accommodations or how our office might be able to help you. Then the next step is generating what's called an accommodations letter. And that's a letter that we provide to you, and it's a tool for you to communicate with your instructors. As Kelly was mentioning, one of your roles is to communicate with your instructors. So communicating with your instructors about those accommodations, and really communicating with your instructors is like just a helpful thing to do in general. So whether it's about accommodations or asking questions in general, that's great. If you ever need accommodations, contact our office. Stop by our office just to find out more information. If you're thinking about it, but you don't know what it's like, we feel like we're pretty welcoming, so we'd look forward to meeting you. Also, just one thing I wanted to mention is we renew accommodations every semester. So if you use them one semester and it's like a good fit for you, contact us and make sure to have those accommodations in place for the next semester. And like I said, we look forward to meeting you. We didn't say our one thing that's unique about us. Kelly, you should.
Trying to get out of that, I feel.
Do you want to go first, Kelly?
I was, secretly, Chuck. So one unique thing about me is I used to raise pigs when I was growing up. Fun fact, grew up on a farm.
My first fact that I turned to Kelly, because Kelly was next to me, I told her that I was a middle child. And then Kelly quickly told me that she is also a middle child, so I realized that was not very unique. So I was trying to think what was unique about me. And the thing that I thought of is I'm wearing these pants for the first time today, and I realized this morning they're missing a belt loop. So I feel like my pants were like not a good fit. Anyway, that's the unique thing about me.
It was very obvious to me that they were both middle children. I am also a middle child, so we see each other. How many other middle children in the room? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. All right, next up we have from, yes, Career Services, Rebecca Harrington.
Daniel, what I think you forgot to mention is you bring your guitar to work. I don't know, I think he ran away, but you might see him playing guitar. So, hi everybody, I'm Rebecca Harrington, and my unique thing, as I always say, is I have a podcast called Ghostly, where we talk about ghost stories. But the new thing is we just got invited to do a live paranormal investigation at a jail in Indiana, so I'm excited. We don't usually actually do the investigating, we just talk about it. So I am from Career Services. I want you guys to think about, why are you here? In other words, why are you in college, right? Kind of what's that goal? I think it's good to keep that in mind because as you've kind of heard, it can get difficult, right? While we're doing this, and kind of having that future goal in mind, I think is helpful. So I just want to talk a little bit about what we do and ways that we can help you. So our office is a free office at College of DuPage, we help students, alumni, and community members. So that means that we're here for you forever, right? So in 10 years, you're like, I don't like what I'm doing anymore, I want to change, right? You can still come back and see us. If you have family or friends that need help, they can come see us too. We are located above the coffee shop, right, over above Campus Central over there, but we're also online. So we help with webinars. Most weeks throughout the semester, we talk about resumes, we talk about interviewing, we talk about LinkedIn, we talk about career research, right? So as you're thinking about those career options, we can help you research those careers to get information about how much money would I make, are people hiring for this, what would I do all day, right? So as you're doing those explorations with counseling and advising, you can also come to us and get some of that information that might help you make those decisions. We are also, as I mentioned, online. So when you go, of course, on the website, you can go to Career Services, but you can also find us on Blackboard. So when you sign into Blackboard, you're going to see, they just changed it. So there's a new, or well, it's not new, but where it is right there. It says Organizations. And if you search in the Organizations for Career Services, we are there. It's like a class that doesn't go away. It's got our webinar schedule on there, all of our resources you can access anytime. We also, on Blackboard, there's an area that has like assistance, area assists, and in there you'll see we have 4 24/7 resources available to you. We have Career Coach, which is that research database. It also has a free assessment on there that you can do some research with. And then we have Chaps Get Hired, which is our job board. So when employers come to CUD and say, hey, we want to hire your students, that could be for just like a job, right, that you need to help you stay in school. It could be an internship. It could be that next step career job. So all levels of jobs, we have them posted there on Chaps Get Hired. We also have VMOC, Smart Resume, which is a resume review software. So you upload your resume and you get feedback immediately. And of course, you can always meet with one of us as well. And then we have Big Interview, which is an interview prep software. I don't know if any of you have heard about this now, but a lot of companies, they do this thing where you have to like record yourself answering questions. Anyone had to do that yet? That hire view thing? Oh yeah, I see some hands out there. Yeah, it's becoming more and more popular. So you can practice. And it's also just good even for in-person interviews to practice that way too. So all of those are available. Either you can get to it from our website or from Blackboard. Again, you can meet with us. You can come to one of our webinars. But don't wait, right? It's easy to think like, oh, I'll worry about that later. I'll worry about that later. Don't wait. Think about it now. Go to student life. Do stuff, right? Be involved, join a group, get an internship, right? Do some volunteer work. All these students in green right now, they've got something amazing for their resume, right? They've got that edge, right, when they go to apply for a job. So keep that in mind as you're going through your program, is to think about, what do I want my resume to look like at the end? What's going to go on there, right? So what can I do while I'm here in order to have something on there when I'm done, right? And come see us. We'll help you get it set up. Thanks.
We are going to keep things moving right along with Sue Kirby from the office with the longest name, Field and Experiential Learning, Study Abroad, and Global Education. Here's Sue.
Thank you. So that was my one unique thing. Does that get me away from that? Hi, I am Sue Kirby, the coordinator of Study Abroad at College of DuPage. We're a unique department at the college because we work with all of the faculty across the college to create academic classes where you earn credit at COD that takes you off campus. Some of our classes are very local to local biology classes that study at the local forest preserves, art classes that go into Chicago, but we travel the world, and you can too as a student at COD. I think the best way to hear about what we do is a few examples of what we do. Kenya, Ireland, Japan, Costa Rica, New York City, the US National Parks. These are all places we've been in the last year with students earning credit through COD. Horticulture, culinary arts, languages, history, architecture. Those are the subjects that you can study by taking field studies and study abroad classes. So we have 3 types of classes. Short term, anywhere from a weekend up at a national park doing hiking or backpacking, to about 2 weeks where you're taking a single 1 to 3 credit hour class and doing pretty much most of the work within that 2-week period. Those are called short term. They're domestic and international. We have summer programs, and a lot of students do our summer language immersion programs. So speaking another language, learning another language, if you're bilingual, you are fortunate enough to be able to communicate with people from other countries all over the world, and that's something that employers really look at, is having that global edge. Our summer language immersion programs can take you to Costa Rica, Germany, France, Ireland, Japan, I'm forgetting Spain, where you go for a month with a group of students and faculty, and you study the language and the culture. It's a great way to spend your summer while you're earning 6 or 7 credit hours at COD. Semester study abroad is also available at COD. We don't run those programs ourselves, but you work with our office to find a program that is offered to college students across the U.S. So you're joining students from other colleges and universities when you spend an entire semester abroad, earning COD credit. It's all approved before you go. So these are interesting ways that you can add to your story at COD. You can make yourself unique as you're studying by adding some of these experiential opportunities at the college. Our classes change all the time. They're offered sometimes once a year, sometimes only once, and then we move on and do something different. So if these types of classes are interesting to you, I encourage you to come find us in the Field Studies and Study Abroad office. We also have on-campus programming for students who don't want to travel. Every spring and March, February and March, we have a Global Flicks series, which is international films. They're free and open to the public, and anyone can come watch them. And we have discussions about the films. We do a lot of on-campus cultural events because we want you to engage with each other and to learn about the world and each other while you do it. So field studies and study abroad. Last point I'm going to make about our classes is because sometimes it takes planning to think about how you might spend a month abroad or 2 weeks abroad, our classes are open for registration up to a year in advance. So we are already registering for classes in the summer and in the fall and into the spring of next year. So don't wait to think about these programs. If you're interested, come find us and we can help you figure out where they fit into your schedule in the next couple years while you're at COD. Thank you.
It occurred to me as I'm standing to the side here that I have not shared my one unique thing. But I'm going to do a host prerogative, and I'm going to share 2 unique things. The first is that my first name, Chuck, the official name is Charles. All first names mean something. Charles means man. And my last name is Steele. I mean, I think it's evident. Man of steel. As a child, I just loved that, and it was so cool growing up. Then as I got older and I had a plate put in my neck, and now I have an artificial shoulder, and it's become more of a literal thing being the Man of Steel, it's become a little less fun. But anyways, still, the Man of Steel. The second unique thing, Angel had asked about if people who have high anxiety about public speaking, could those people raise their hands again? You raise them high. The majority of people have a pretty good level, and I count myself amongst this group. In addition to working in student life, I did mention that I also teach Speech 1100, and I happen to teach a field studies course, Experiential Speech 1100, specifically for students with high anxiety about public speaking. It's an 8-week course. It's going on the second 8 weeks of this spring semester. We go up to Wisconsin for an overnight stay at an adventure center where we do a lot of activities up there that go along with the 8 weeks in the classroom. So if that's something that you're interested in, as a way of, everyone's got to do public speaking, has to take speech to graduate. And there's other options for taking Speech 1100 too that really address the high anxiety piece. So make sure you look for that. The other thing that I want to mention is, education is about taking bits of information and putting it together, and just connecting the dots on your own. And so, when you hear things like study abroad, whether it's short-term or long-term, you might think in your head that, oh, that sounds fairly expensive. But if you go back to the financial aid presentation, and we have so many scholarships. I have worked with so many students who have done these trips who have gotten full ride scholarships to go, or a good deal of it paid for through scholarships. And I'm going to tell you a little secret, not a lot of students always apply for the scholarships. Don't let it out of this room, all right? Between you and me, not a lot of students always apply for the scholarships. So what that means to you is that you should what? You guys are geniuses. I think the lucky people are the other ones. You guys are clearly the geniuses. All right, we're going to keep things moving along. Next up, we have Allison Von Ende from the Center for Student Success. Allison. Don't forget your one unique thing.
Hi, everybody. As he said, my name is Allison Von Ende, and my one unique thing is I jumped off a 75-foot cliff into the Colorado River, and then, yeah. But the water was so cold that I had to like dog paddle because my brain couldn't function. So I was like, yeah, I was laughing at myself in my head too. So I am with the Center for Student Success. I'm a navigator. I've been here since 2019. And the way I tell students is like, we're here to teach you how to be a college student. Who's been taught how to be a college student yet? Raise your hand. Awesome, perfect. So we're here to help you figure out that transition, whether you're coming from high school, whether you're coming from working, that transition into COD is as smooth as possible. Nobody really teaches you how to manage your time, right? Who has an issue with procrastination? Raise your hand. Who gets on TikTok too much? Raise your hand. Way in the back. Who's seen the guy, hold up, you've been scrolling for way too long, right? Again, in the back. We're here to help you with those tools like time management, procrastination, those things that you aren't necessarily taught in the classroom, right? But to be successful in college. So you will hear from one of us. All new students have an assigned navigator via email initially, really. Please don't ignore us. We're nice and we're not robots. Sometimes students think we're just an automated message. It's a real person behind that email. Is it generic? Yes, because we're required to send out one generic email a semester to get everybody in. But after that, it's all about relationship building. We meet periodically to talk about your goals, what you want to accomplish in the future. And I see it as my role to help you stay on track to accomplish those goals, right? So that's really what we're here is just to be your person, to make sure that transition, and then once you're ready to leave COD, to make sure you're connected to the right resources to get out of COD as smooth as possible. Right? And also to make you familiar with the policies and procedures of the college, remind you about registration dates. If you've had a bad schedule, you know if you know. And I think also to get to know students as a person, like outside of the academic life, what are you doing? So my goal is to build a relationship with that person over the course of the semester and make sure they can get where they want to be. I will mention a few points from our website. We make academic plans usually, so we set some goals at the beginning of the term of what you want to accomplish and then talk about how we're going to get that accomplished, okay? Understand policies and procedures, and then answer any random questions. A lot of times students have a hard time getting in contact with a faculty member or figuring out Blackboard. Who's familiar with Blackboard? Love the hands, love the hands. So Blackboard is a software or a program that you use to turn into most of your homework, and so we help you figure that out as well. We're really a catch-all, so just please keep an eye out on your phone. You might receive a phone call, a text message. If it's a random Google text saying to your navigator, I promise they're a real person, or respond to that email requesting an appointment, and we'll make sure you get off the right foot for the spring semester.
All right, two more to go. We're going to keep it going with not cadet, but Christine. Oh, it is cadet. Again, this PowerPoint. Anyways, Cadet Alex from the library. Here we go.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, we switched things around so I would match the slides here. But it's great to be here. My name is Cadet Alex. My pronouns are they, them. And I'm here to talk to you about the library. Thank you for choosing to be here, and thank you for sticking it out this long. This has been a lot of talks, so we're gonna just try to get out some really useful information for you guys getting started. So we are an academic library. We have a ton of resources, and we're here to help you no matter who you are, how you're studying, what you're studying, any of your classes. So, for instance, who is taking a STEM class this term? Science, biology, anatomy. We have models behind our reference desk of different organs and bones and different anatomy features. We've got a skull out in the other room. You can take a look at it, and you can use those in the library to help you study. What about people interested in graphic design or art or music? Nice, nice, nice. We have a media lab in the library where we have some excellent folks who can help you with software, with equipment. We have podcasting kits, we have a recording booth, we have green screens, cameras, 360 cameras, all sorts of stuff. And these are things that if you're a student here, you can come check out and the Media Lab folks will help you with. Another thing is, when you're not doing all those big projects, maybe you just want a place to study. The library is great for that. We have study rooms, we have group study space, we have quiet study space, and we're open 7 days a week. So if you're here on campus for a long time, you might want to come and check us out. You might also be worried about textbooks. Has anyone here bought their textbooks yet? Looked into what textbooks you want? So, not all of them, but we have textbooks in the library. We have ebooks and books in the library, and we can help you figure out the process and figure out what it is that we can help you with to get your classes. It can be confusing, and that's what we are here for, is helping that. We can also help with printing. Who has a printer at home or readily available? A few of you. Do your printers have ink and paper and are definitely going to work on time? So everybody, when you're here at COD, you have a Smart Print account. You need to set it up. Printing is not free, but it is cheap. It's like 6 cents a page, and you can print in the library, and we can help you set those accounts up. So the library is a big place. The library is also a big online place. So how many of you are taking online classes? And also, hello to all of you out there who are watching this streaming, because I'm assuming some of you might be taking online classes too. We have a website that has a ton of information on it, and we have online research appointments with librarians, as well as being able to talk to someone in person in the library. We have an online chat service so you can ask questions, typing back and forth with somebody. We have ebooks, we have e-audiobooks, we have video streaming, and right now, you guys can already start to access our resources. If you have a COD network ID and password that you would use to get into your COD email or to Blackboard or anything like that, you can get into our library resources online. You can also, for anyone who's on campus, once you have your student ID, you can already start checking books out of the library, activate your card with us, and we're open until 4:30 tonight. You could get your student ID now. We are just down the hall and kind of around the curve. You should check us out. We are a great space. So again, I'm Cadet, and thank you for being here. Oh, and one unique thing. My one unique thing is that late this summer, I decided to go on a project of watching as many movie adaptations of Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray as I could. And so I watched, since like August, I've watched 12 different versions. The oldest was a fragment, like 20 minutes from 1915, and then there was more recent ones. And yeah. If anyone else has done that, and this is not in fact a unique thing, come talk to me. Thank you.
That is great. And I always like to say this about the library, you know, when students are done here at COD, we love to keep in touch with you. And one of the ways that we keep in touch with a lot of students who go on to a four-year school in the area is they come back and use our library while they're at their four-year, because our library is so top of the line that it is, they just enjoy it better, find that it's more helpful, more resources than their libraries at their four-year schools. So I just recommend, again, go check them out. You know, Daniel from Access and Accommodations mentioned, he said, I like to think that we're an inviting office or welcoming office at Access and Accommodations. And they are. I can assure you they are. But all of the offices here are super welcoming, and you should spend time on campus, especially your first few weeks, just wandering around, checking out the different communities, checking out the different offerings, the different offices. It's a great way to get to know things even better. All right, our last presenter today is from our police department. Please give it up for Derek Jensen.
Good afternoon. The ice cream is on the table, so I'm going to try to be pretty quick with this. Like Chuck said, my name is Derek Jensen. I am the detective at the police department. One unique thing about me is about 20 years ago, I was sitting in the very seats you guys were in. So I've been here for quite a while and just never really left. So that's it. I'm going to give you guys a very broad overview of our department real quick and get you guys out of here. Many of you guys are coming from high schools, and you're probably used to like a SRO or a student resource officer being within the building. Here at COD, you guys get a whole department. We're all certified police officers through the state. We go through the police academy. So we have the same police powers just like Glen Ellen or Wheaton or any other municipality in the state. We do have two locations on campus. The first one is on the east side of campus, which is where you guys are at right now. If you were to walk right down the hallway, right across from the coffee shop where a lot of the places are at, you will see our police service desk that's actually attached to our dispatch center as well. So if you have any need assistance with anything, maybe you found something when you're milling about on campus, you need to turn it into our lost and found, that's probably the most popular location that you guys can find us. On the west side of campus, which is on the other side of Lambert's Road over there, that's kind of our main hub. It's in the Homeland Education Center. If you were to walk in through door number 4, that's right where our administrative offices are at, our squad room. That's where really everything is housed at. If you guys get your phones out real quick, I'm going to give you our direct line. It is important to get this number down. Obviously, you're probably thinking, why can't I just call 911? Well, you can. The only problem is that call is going to go to DuCom. They basically serve Glen Ellen and Wheaton, so they're going to take all your information and then kick it over to our dispatch center when they find out, hey, this guy's over at COD. Let's relay it to them. So our number is 630-942-2000, and that will give you in link right with our dispatcher. There are a couple other ways you guys can get a hold of us. We'll get into that in just a couple seconds. But first, I just want to briefly go over some of the safety features here on campus. If you guys have been milling about, looking, you're doing your 360 around either hallways, buildings, classrooms, you will notice we have a ton of CCTV footage cameras out there. We have over 1,500 between here and our satellite campuses, so just be mindful. We're not checking them, obviously, 24/7, but they are there. Just be cognizant. So if we have to go back and look at stuff, we will. Also, there are red phones in all the buildings. If you walk out in the hallways, you'll see these solid red phones. If you were to pick that up, there's going to be no dial tone. It's going to start ringing immediately, and that will go right to our dispatch center. So some of you guys might have bad service, whether you're on maybe the 0 level of the IC building. That's a good way to get a hold of us, just by pulling on one of those phones. If you guys notice in the parking lots, when you park your cars or walking on the sidewalks, you will see a bunch of emergency call boxes. Those are on the usually on the light posts and stuff. Again, just press the emergency button. It doesn't have to be emergency, just really if you need any kind of assistance whatsoever, press that button. Our dispatcher will again receive the call and see what the problem is. If you guys still have your phones out, download this app. It's really good for safety while you're here on campus. It's called the Rave Guardian app. There's a lot of good features on it. You can get up-to-date information if anything is to go awry, weather-related, or, and God forbid, if something bad really happens here, you guys will get up-to-date information directly to your phone. There's a safety timer built in the app, so if you're here working out late, you're studying late, say it's maybe 11 o'clock at night, and you don't really want to go to your vehicle alone, you can set a safety timer on your phone. If that does expire, it'll actually give us a location of where you're currently at. We can send a squad out there and then assist you or help you to your vehicle if you want. Another neat feature is obviously not everyone wants to call the police. If you want to be inconspicuous, you can actually get in the app. There is a way to text message our department directly, so if you guys need to send us a tip for whatever reason, that's available as well. And finally, there's also a button on there just to call us directly as well if you guys didn't jot down our number. Wrapping things up here, we do have a student worker program within our departments. We have 3 available positions. The first one is kind of the service desk I was talking about earlier. You guys can work back there, assist anyone that comes to the service desk. You can also help manage the lost and found there. We also have a student CSO position, which is a community service officer position, where you actually get the opportunity to use one of the squads. You can drive around campus, help assist with students either locked out of their vehicles, maybe you need to jumpstart a car, let someone in their office or a classroom, that sort of thing. And then finally, we have a position where students can work in our dispatch center, and there you would obviously help relay calls to us, the engineering department, custodial operations as well. You get to learn how to use leads and stuff. But all 3 of those positions are very customer service oriented, and obviously moving forward in life, whether you have an interest in law enforcement or not, those are really good positions to have on a resume. That's really all I have for you. We do have Facebook and Instagram where we have a COD podcast on there as well. So feel free to join those, subscribe and follow. Other than that, welcome to COD and good luck.
How many people here will never lock their keys in their car? I appreciate the people not raising their hands. How many people will never need a jump start? I will just tell you that is one of the nicest things about having the police around is I see students and staff and faculty out in the lots. It does happen, and just knowing that they're there to help is a great relief for us. So I want to go back to one last thing in closing that I said at the beginning, and that is that COD is a jump start to your college career. Typically, if you go to a 4-year school, or again, if you have friends or family at a 4-year school, they start talking to you about internships, about field studies, study abroad, when you're a junior or a senior. We start telling you about that today. If you want to be a member of a club, you can come in and be an officer your first semester. In fact, Student Leadership Council, which is like our student government, is holding their elections for next year, this semester, and applications open up next week when classes start. So you could join the Student Leadership Council and be an officer from the jump. If you want to play a sport or be in a play, you don't have to start at the bottom and work your way up to the top. Those you can do right away. And then when you transfer to a 4-year school, if you like those opportunities, you can do more of that. So that's why it's a jump start. It is the opposite of a delay. The only thing I will admit that we do not have, that 4-year schools have, is we do not have dorms, right? But that doesn't mean that we don't have a social life, that we don't have a student life. That happens on campus. It happens within all of the communities we have as part of our larger community. So if you want to be a genius and be as successful as you possibly can here and have that positive impact on your work, your future career, your future life, you're going to make the most of your investment here at College of DuPage, and that is your time. How are you going to spend your time? We have an ice cream social. I assume many of you have questions. We did not have time for questions, obviously. The tables are still set up. We have ice cream in the center of the room. All of the tables now miraculously have toppings. So start in the center, get your ice cream, then go around, ask your questions, fill your get your toppings. You can go through these two doors, but they're small. You can also go through the two sets of doors in the back and just re-enter from the outside, and that way we'll get you to the ice cream and the tables as quickly as possible. We will see you on campus on Monday.